Hey Rocky fans, Leandra here. Kelly and I wanted to put a content warning on this episode because this minute of the film depicts scenes that, to a modern eye, contain sexual assault. While these scenes were originally not written with that intent, we are aware that for some listeners, this discussion may need to be skipped. If you would like to pick up the conversation after we're done with these minutes, check back in at minute 56. Rocky Horror Minute is rated R. The Rocky Horror Picture Show is also rated R. We're going to spend this time discussing the movie in gory detail, and along the road we will talk about some adult content and use some of our favorite swear words.
Any of these little fuckers ever pop out of the fucking wall and say, "Fuck, there's a horse cock in my room," or a donkey dick?
Consider yourselves warned. Welcome to Rocky Horror Minute, the podcast where we break down the Rocky Horror Picture Show in excruciating detail, 1 minute at a time. I'm one of your hosts, Leandra.
And I'm your other host, Kelly.
And today we are going over minute 52. What happens in that minute?
I'm so glad you asked. So, we ended last minute with Riff and Magenta looking at each other. He sort of bounces his thumb, but off to his left, seeming to indicate a direction. Magenta looks that way, turns back, kind of smiles and raises her eyebrows at him as though, I see what you're talking about here. Then he hands her his rag and walks off in that direction. She pretty clearly looks him up and down as though she were checking him out, and then she stands leaning on the mop and watching. He creeps up to Rocky, who is lying on the canopy bed, on his stomach, with sort of his arms folded and his head on them, and sleeping. Riff picks up a large candelabra and wakes him by kind of nudging him on the shoulder. Rocky is immediately scared. The candelabra's lit, and he starts kind of grunting and trying to get away. Riff hisses at him and then is generally laughing and just continues to hiss and laugh throughout this interaction and sort of menace him with the candlestick. Then Rocky gets down off the bed and there is a chain attached to a shackle around his ankle, and he starts pulling on the chain trying to break it. Eventually he gets free, which somehow causes the canopy of the bed to fall down, it looks like. And then he runs to the elevator shaft and begins to climb down the elevator shaft. And Magenta walks over and peers down at him. And Riff starts walking over, laughing hysterically.
Beautiful. Loved that.
Yeah.
I just want to start out strong with, I, for one, love the horny look that Patricia Quinn gives Richard O'Brien after he hands her the rag.
Yeah, I actually really like to play that up when I'm playing Magenta. I lean way back and bite my lip, and sometimes I do an ass spanking motion, because we'll get to this when we get callbacks, but that moment is usually called out by the audience, and it is pretty funny. I mean, especially, we'll get to this probably next minute, but Patricia Quinn claims there was no... we talked about this a little bit, and I now have confirmation. Patricia Quinn fully is sticking to the story that there was no implied incest in the movie. There is no non-incestual reason to look at your brother that way.
So, a lot to unpack about the statements that you just made. First off, if you heard me giggling, I tried to mute myself because I thought it would be too distracting. But when you said you bite your lip, I was just thinking of your stupid, awful Christian Grey impression.
Anastasia, you're mine, Anastasia. You're biting your lip. You know what that does to me. Yeah, I'm really sorry to... What's his name? Dornan? Jamie Dornan, right?
Yeah.
I'm really sorry, Mr. Dornan, if you're listening. Your American accent needs work, and you should have had an accent coach on that movie. That's not entirely your fault, but you are not beating the Irishman allegations. And I don't know why they made you do that. I mean, I guess because the character was based in Seattle, but, like, they should have just had him be British for some reason, especially since he was adopted. You know, I don't know. They should have just let him have...
Adopted as a toddler, still has a British accent because he watches exclusively Peppa Pig.
Like, they should have just had him have an Irish accent. People, like, Americans would have been more titillated by that anyway. But instead they had him barely containing it. Also, I did say incestual a minute ago, but it's incestuous, and I know that, so I had to make sure everybody knows that I know that.
Well, thank you for that. I really appreciate it.
I'm speaking my truth.
Yeah, it's good. I don't want to delve too much into our personal lives, but at one point, one of our mutual friends did say that you and I bring up incest far more than is reasonable.
Yeah, I was once told that I have a round table about incest like once a week. The topic of incest tends to come up a lot in my life, not in a sexy way, just as a point of discussion. For example, now we're discussing incest in, I believe, a scholarly way.
Scholarly incest.
Yeah.
You heard it here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I'm just very happy that we continue our streak of continuing to bring up incest, even if nobody else wants to hear about it.
Yep. Patricia Quinn has just angrily slammed down her podcasting implement. I guess like a phone, or maybe it's like an old-timey like gramophone or something she's playing us on, and is writing us an angry email as we speak.
Shit, are we now available on gramophone?
We're available on gramophone, yeah.
Oh, wow.
And passenger pigeon. They'll just
Ooh.
deliver you a transcript.
That is very exciting.
Yeah, especially since those are, I believe, extinct. So
I didn't realize it was a specific type of pigeon. I thought that you could just like train certain pigeons to do that.
Oh, yeah, like, you can train pigeons to deliver things, but just, I specifically said passenger pigeon, and they are, I believe, extinct.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, you'd know.
Yeah,
I guess.
would. Yeah, I personally killed them all because my appetite for pigeons is so ravenous. I have to have 10 or 20 a day, so...
So, moving on to things that
would have been nowhere near as many passenger pigeons. That would never be enough to kill. I would need 100 to 200,000 a day. It was insane how many passenger pigeons used to be here. That's why they went extinct. They just got like people used to just like shoot into clouds of them for fun because they were like, there's so many passenger pigeons, they'll never all die. Anyway, I just thought you might like to know these facts.
I do. I'm appreciative of any facts that you bring to our podcast, even if they're about pigeons.
Thank you. Thank you.
I feel bad because I was just going to bring up that you could see the little orb thingies on the top of, we call it the cheap chandelier. Some people call it the SS Honeycomb. It's the life-creating serum machine with the nozzles that Rocky was hanging off of for the first part of Sword of Damocles. And you can see that it doesn't just have the little nozzles and a light. There are also orb thingies protruding from the top of it, which I thought was cool.
That is cool.
And then we get into the somber bridal suite, and we get a really good look at the velvet drapes. They have this beautiful embossed floral pattern. It's very luxe. In this minute, I realized why I was having so much trouble seeing details in the movie. I looked at my monitor brightness setting, and it was at 10%. So I was just squinting, going like, why is this so dark? But it's at 100% right now, and it is so much easier to see everything. In fact, what I thought were just random tassels to nowhere are very clearly the tassels that are holding back each half of the drapes around each side of the canopy bed. So, by my understanding, that would mean that there are 8 tassel ropes in total, or 16 tassels. Later, you see that there's a super secret, like, 17th tassel in the center of the ceiling of the canopy. So that's a lot of gold tassels for one room. I think that more than like 4 is probably too many for me personally. But
How many do you have?
0.
Oh.
How many do you have?
Let's just say if it were passenger pigeons, they would be in danger of extinction.
I don't know how to feel about that.
But yeah, it's a really interesting room, and I would like to talk while we're on the subject of like the drapes and the canopy. Was this a load-bearing chain? I don't understand why everything falls down when he breaks the chain.
I noticed that the chains are around each of Rocky's ankles, and my guess is that just the movement of pulling them away kind of knocked one of the posters of the 4-poster bed over, and that's what caused this chain reaction of everything crumbling.
I see.
That's the only thing I can imagine. I do think that it's great that Rocky's chains are gold, and it's no wonder that they were easy to break through because gold is a weak metal.
It's true. I mean, they may have just been decorative originally. I don't know. What was Riff's goal here? Was he trying to get him to break free, or was he just trying to scare him?
I think he was just trying to scare him, which doesn't seem very cool of him.
It doesn't. He's not... I don't think he's portrayed as a particularly kind man in the movie.
That's fair. I've seen the Rocky Horror Show several times, and I'm struggling to remember if they even have this scene in it, and if so, how they explain it.
Yeah, I really need to watch the Rocky Horror Show.
It's good. Some people would say better than the movie.
Are you one of those people?
I don't know. Depends on the production, I guess.
Well, yes. I mean, I certainly like their version of, well, it's called Charles Atlas Song in the movie, but we've been over that already. And yeah. I like their version of Over at the Frankenstein Place better.
That is true.
Anyway.
The only other thing that I wanted to point out in this is when you see Magenta and Riff Raff rush over to the elevator to chase after Rocky, who is going down to the first floor, one would assume. You can see the pommel horse is on the other side of the elevator shaft where it kind of initially started, right at the beginning of lab scene. But you can see that the happy birthday card is back on it. So that makes me wonder who put it back. Or if Sue is to marry. Yeah.
When was the tag taken off the pommel horse?
It's during I Can Make You a Man. It's right before and soon in the gym with a determined chin.
That's the weight rack. That happy birthday card is on the weight rack.
Oh, no, you're right. Yeah, the card stays on the pommel horse. Okay. Well, fans, this is so embarrassing. I can't believe I got that wrong. Please forgive me.
You know when, like, the leader of a wolf pack is getting old and the younger wolves eventually tear him apart and take his place as a new alpha? That's what just happened.
Because I'm not into Omegaverse like you are.
I actually don't even know if that's true, because the whole like alpha, beta, like thing about wolf social structures is not true. This is Zoology Minute today. But yeah, the whole, in case you didn't know, the whole alpha, beta, whatever thing isn't even real. Yeah, Omega.
It's called Omegaverse for a reason, one would hope.
None of that's real. The person who described the wolf social structures that way was simply wrong. Okay. That's been, like, proven. So I don't know if that's even true, that thing I was taught growing up about how, like, the younger wolves will tear the alpha apart and take over when he's getting too old. But that's what just happened, and I am now the leader of our Rocky cast.
Sure, we'll go with that.
Yeah.
I think that anybody listening to this will go, yeah.
If you're on our cast and you're listening to this, I'm now your supreme leader, and I just put a Burger King crown on.
Well, have fun with that. Good luck. I guess I shall actually retire.
Yeah. It's about time.
Yeah.
But seriously, that is still a good thing to point out, that the pommel horse is there, the happy birthday card's on it.
That is true. So I get partial credit.
Correct.
Otherwise, that was really all I had to say about this minute. What are your thoughts?
Besides what I've said already, I don't have a lot. I did want to ask, first of all, what is that music that starts to play? The music that I think of as the Rocky running music, and why is that music? Because to me, it's very strange.
It is kind of a continuation of the, I think, equally odd music that started with the first bedroom scene.
That's true, but this is like that. I did a really bad job.
That was really good. And now I'm the alpha again.
No. But yeah, to me, it's weird music to play at a moment like this, and I don't know what they're trying to evoke.
It seems kind of hyper music. It's the word frenetic?
Yeah.
I guess that is as good a word as any to describe it. It's very, very busy, and there is a lot of movement going on in this. I think that at the beginning of the minute, as Riff Raff is about to mess with Rocky for no other reason than to be mean, it almost sounds like old-timey melodrama music.
That's true. Yeah.
Like kind of a radio play.
I could see that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's that. And then I wanted to comment on what Patricia Quinn said in the commentary, because I just thought it was kind of funny and cute. She went, as Riff is walking away and Patricia is, like, looking at him and stuff, she goes, "Darling, Lillian Gish has got nothing on me in silent movies. This is the most silent movie I ever made, and I'm glad I'm talking now, and I had to do something. I've never made so many eyes or faces." So, this is very true. Magenta is constantly giving face and, like, making truly, like, silent movie actress faces a lot. So,
she really has very few lines in this, and
yeah. And that's basically what she was saying. Like, there's very little dialogue.
I think that she makes every little piece of dialogue count, and even though she's often incredibly silent, it doesn't seem like that until you're reviewing all of her lines, and you go, wow, there's like 17. Like, not many at all.
Yeah, something that I've told people about when I first learned Magenta and then later learned a bigger role, like Janet, I think was the first bigger role I went into. I was so nervous because Janet's on stage almost the whole time, but then I was like, oh, this is a lot easier to learn than Magenta, because Magenta is on stage less, but whenever she is visible, she's doing something. Like, the whole time, every moment, there is something happening with Magenta that you have to be aware of. Janet stands in the corner a lot. For most of the movie, she's standing in one corner or another. And even though she's on stage, the character's not necessarily on screen. And if she is, she's often just staring. So definitely she made the most of it. And Richard O'Brien commented in return saying that he feels that a lot of directors would have cut a lot of these scenes. He thinks that this fucking with the monster scene would have been cut, and a lot of Riff and Magenta's interactions. But he feels that side characters like that aren't crucial to the plot often get cut out of movies, and he was thankful that it wasn't in this case.
Yeah.
Patricia Quinn said, well, that would make it quite thin. He said, well, a lot of movies are, which is true.
I I also want to call out that I want to say this is only the second of the minutes that we've gone through that has no dialogue.
Is it really?
I believe so.
Wow. But yeah, it is interesting to cover a scene with no dialogue. It's fun because there's so many other things to comment on at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I had.
Quickly going back to the candelabra, I messaged you and a couple of other people because as I was rewatching this minute, I realized that it looks like both of the candelabras in this might be two different sizes. Looks like the one on the left might have 9 candles, and then the one on the right, I am pretty sure, has 13 candles. That's the one that Riff uses. Did you agree with me that 13 is that number, even though that's a weird number?
It's not a weird number. I looked it up. It's pretty common for candelabras to have 13 branches. And yes, I looked a lot from a lot of different angles, and I'm pretty confident it's 13. And I think the other one has 10.
Oh, you think it has 10?
Yes.
Okay. I thought it was 9. Listeners,
You can kind of see in one. I'll show you later why I think it's 10, but I'm fairly certain it's 10.
well, I'm comfortable with it being 9 or 10. I just know that it's not 13.
No, it's not 13. It's definitely a smaller or at least differently shaped one.
Such a weird choice that was made.
Many weird choices were made.
Yeah. Do you want to head into callbacks, or do you want to talk about our most recent Halloween show first?
Let's do callbacks so we can end the minute, and then we will give our recap on the Halloween show.
Okay. Well, you go first.
Okay, I don't have many. As we kind of alluded to earlier, when Magenta is clearly lusting over Riff Raff's ass, something along the lines of like, damn, my brother has a nice ass. There's a shot facing Rocky's face where you see his shoulders and everything, like, center of the frame, very close up. And people will begin to chant, muscle twitch, or like they'll say, I paid $10 to see this movie and I'm not leaving till I see a muscle twitch, something like that. And then they'll start chanting, muscle twitch, muscle twitch. And then very clearly you see one of the muscles in his shoulder twitch, which I wish I could do because it would be fun to do that when I'm Rocky, but I can't, so I have to kind of fake it by just moving my shoulder. Then my favorite from this minute, when Riff picks up the candelabra, and it's a giant candelabra that's on fire. You can say, like, Riff, I know what you're thinking, and I like where you're going with this, but trust me, it's not gonna fit. Because it sort of looks like he might be planning to shove that up Rocky's ass. And then, when he does wake him up, something like, Happy Hanukkah, bitch, or something, because it, again, is giant flaming candelabra. And then the only other thing I can think of is when Rocky starts frantically jerking on the chain. People will make some kind of innuendo about that, like, Rocky just keeps jerking that chain, something like that.
I only have a couple to go through that you didn't go with. There's, was it the butcher, was it the baker, then it must have been the candlestick maker. And this one must have been funnier many years ago. I've never found that one to be terribly amusing. I often even hear it changed to that it must have been the ghost of Liberace, which
That's
also
the one I've heard more. Yeah.
I feel like that one's kind of aged meh as well.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I guess Liberace is not a reference that the younger generation would even get at this point. I also don't really think he's that Liberace-like.
They're just talking about the candelabra.
Was Liberace known for having a candelabra?
Yeah. He had a candelabra on his piano. That was like the entire reason behind this callback.
I see. Well, I guess I didn't get the reference either, so that should be proof that it's not that great of a callback.
I'm excited for you to look this up and have it be our social media picture.
What else you got?
You went through the Happy Hanukkah bitch callback. I also like, how about a little fire, Scarecrow?
That's funny because he's kind of laughing like the Joker.
I would say the Wicked Witch, but yes.
You guys can't see it, but I'm like, I'm sitting here just thinking about all of my mistakes in life.
And you thought you were the alpha.
This is a redemption tale. This is like fucking Hamlet.
Anastasia, you're not an alpha. I don't know.
Anastasia, you're not the alpha anymore. I am your alpha, Anastasia.
I really hate this.
And yet you keep contributing to it.
It is true.
Is that all the callbacks?
That is all the callbacks. So we had a huge vagina of Kelly's.
Yeah.
We had a huge show on Halloween, October 31st, at the Lincoln Theater in Washington, D.C. with the Sonic Transducers. And I think that our listeners would love to hear how that went.
Well, first, do you want to talk about what it was like to meet Patricia Quinn?
I would love to tell you what it was like to meet Patricia Quinn because I met her in Baltimore the week before.
Oh, I guess you did. Yeah, I was referencing the fact that Patricia Quinn was supposed to be at our cast's Halloween show on Halloween, but then she was not because she was sick. Hope she's feeling better. I would hate to say that this is karma for all of the times that she said that Susan Sarandon bitched too much about her pneumonia, so I won't say that.
No, we shan't say that.
No, we would never say that. But seriously, though, I love Patricia Quinn. Hope she's doing great. But Barry Bostwick was there.
I think that Uncle Barry was specifically even cooler this go around, maybe because Patricia Quinn wasn't there and he was overcompensating because he was worried that people were going to be sad. That's my take.
That's possible. He's just great. He's so chill and he really likes talking to casts, it seems like. If not, he's an even better actor than I thought because he really goes out of his way to chat with people, ask about their lives, and, tell them that he likes things that they're doing. It's so sweet. He's so generous with his time. I love him so much.
And so generous with his liquor.
That's true. He gave Leandra a bottle of partially drunk tequila, which was pretty funny.
Jose Cuervo, the official brand of Rocky Horror Minute.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, just in general, he was wonderful. I guess one thing that worked out in my favor personally with Patricia Quinn not being there is I got her dressing room because I was playing Frank, so I guess that's why it was given to me. Probably because I was playing Frank and because I am very slow at walking in heels and on stairs, so they probably wanted to give it to me so that I could get to the stage faster. However, it was nice. I magnanimously shared it with Leandra, even though I'm the alpha. And so we had a lot of fun in our dressing room together. We posted some pics on the social media if you want to take a look at us. All our getting ready pics and things like that. I have not posted our cast photo with Uncle Barry yet because I still have not received it, but we did take one.
Yeah, we actually took two because we had 32 people on our cast for that show, and because of that we just simply didn't have enough space for Uncle Barry to take a picture with every single one of us in the stairwell that we decided inexplicably to take that picture.
We did not decide that.
Is
it was
true.
decided. We would never have made that choice. I don't know why we were doing it in the stairwell. It was crazy. I'm barely in the photo because I was nearly getting shoved down the stairs. But anyway, yeah, I got to sing a little duet with Barry Bostwick backstage because I asked him about Brad's solo from Over at the Frankenstein Place. I said, we were talking in general about that song, and I said, Brad had a solo in the show, and it was cut for the movie. You wouldn't know why that is. And he said, I don't remember. He gave a whole bunch of reasons why he thinks that could have been. He said basically he thinks it's information the audience didn't need. He said it's already a slow movie and that he thought they were just trying to cut time because it wasn't necessary. I was personally like, we could have cut 30 seconds out of lab scene pretty much anywhere and put that solo back in, but he compared it to Once in a While. He's like, that song was great for the stage but not for the movie, which I definitely agree about Once in a While. But anyway, then he said, what were the lyrics to that again? And so I started singing it, and then he started singing along with me, and we had a magic little duet moment. And then I said, so you did record it, I guess, because you know it. And he said, oh no, I was just watching your lips, which and he was singing it in time with me, so that didn't, I don't think that could possibly be why.
And
so
then
I don't know
walked
if he was
over and
being...
she was just talking to a hat.
yeah, I did briefly wonder if maybe I was just talking to a hat rack the whole time after taking too many swigs of that tequila, but it felt like a moment in a Christmas movie where like the guy who's secretly Santa is like, oh no, that couldn't have been me, you're just seeing things, and it like winks and disappears into a glittery mist or something.
Which is incredibly on brand for Uncle Barry because he was our Santa for our Christmas minute.
I have seen him thrice since recording that, and each time I have brought it up, and 0 of the times he has remembered, and that's fine. I know it happened, you listeners know it happened because it is recorded for posterity, and he just has no memory of it, which is totally fair. But I brought a promotional postcard we made around the time of the Christmas Minute with photos that we took for the magazine, because there was a magazine article about our Christmas episode, well, about the podcast in general, but it was right before the Christmas episode came out. So we took Christmassy photos, we made a little Christmas card thing, and I got Uncle Barry to sign it on Halloween, so.
And we'll post that picture probably closer to Christmas time.
That's true.
Yeah.
We will. I don't know. Write in and I will send you a photocopy of it for Christmas.
Honestly,
get on our Christmas card list.
If you send us your mailing address, I very well might just send you a Christmas card from Rocky Horror Minute. Not a personal one. I feel like that's weird.
Get on our Christmas card list,
yeah,
listeners. But yeah, did you have any other thoughts about the show? Overall, I thought the show went really well in general. I think we had a really strong cast and everybody worked really hard, and I think we put on a beautiful show. Sold out at the Lincoln Theater, so that should be about 1,225 people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We definitely kicked ass and took names, and Uncle Barry even stayed up through Damn It, Janet, because he was just watching our show from backstage and smiling and going, oh, this is fun. They're doing a really good job.
Yeah, we actually have a lot of pics of him watching from the wings with voyeuristic intentions. It's so cute.
Yeah.
Uncle Barry, if you're listening, and we know you're not, we love you. And we're sorry for talking about your penis so much a couple minutes ago.
I do want to continue to apologize for that, but I do also want you to know that I'm not actually sorry. Because I'm the alpha.
Yeah.
But otherwise, if that's
Barry
it,
Bostwick, I am your alpha.
I feel like he would disagree.
Now, Barry Bostwick would not like it if I said something to him about being an omega in heat or passed along any fan fiction along those lines.
Yeah,
surely.
please, for the love of God, don't. Like, he is very cool. He deals with so much bullshit. We don't need to contribute to any bullshit that he has to deal with past what he already deals with. Please don't.
That I will not, and I don't actually have that because I just don't understand, honestly, how it even works.
Do not explain. Listeners, please don't.
Explain to Leandra,
No,
but I don't want to know.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't have any interest. But you don't have to go home. But you can't stay
But you can't stay here,
So get the fuck out.
fuck out.
Haha.
We tricked them.
Double feature picture show.